Good morning, children. Today in English 1, we are going to hear a very interesting story, lesson number 32, The Noble Stag. As we all know, King Brahmadatta of Banaras was extremely fond of hunting. He liked to hunt. Luckily for him, on the outskirts of the city was a huge forest filled with deer. Among them, there was a mighty stag. Children, outskirts means the outer parts of a city or town. And stag, a male deer, is known as a stag. One fine day, the king had gone hunting with his courtiers. Courtiers are persons at the court of a king who follow the king wherever he goes. He told his courtiers, "If you allow even a single deer to escape, I will punish you severely." He warned them harshly. He told them that if you allow a single deer to escape, I will punish you. So the courtiers formed a tight circle from which no deer could escape. Then they began to beat their sticks on the ground to frighten the deer hiding in the bushes and to make them run. The only way out of their circle was through a small clearing where the king stood ready with his bow and arrows. The courtiers were beating their sticks on the ground and shouting when suddenly a stag leapt out of a thicket, jumped out from a thicket. Thicket, children, is a where there are thick growth of shrubs, plants. It is known as thicket. The stag saw that the king was standing in the way. So he looked the king straight in the eye and made a dash towards him. Made a dash towards means suddenly and very quickly. The king was taken aback. Taken aback means to make one jump back in surprise because the stag had suddenly and quickly ran towards him. So the king was taken aback and shot an arrow towards the stag hurriedly. Of course, it missed the mark, but the stag rolled over. Now, there is one thing that you must know, children, about the stag. It has excellent instincts. Instincts are inborn ways of behavior which are inborn from birth. So, they have excellent instincts and they are very good at dodging, extremely good at dodging arrows. Dodging means moving aside here and there quickly to avoid an arrow or a blow. When you all play dodgeball, how you dodge the ball? So, they are very good in dodging arrows, whether shot at from the back, front, or even the top. If an arrow is aimed at its belly, you all know belly, the meaning of belly is stomach. It pretends to roll over and then jumps up and runs once the danger has passed. So, when the stag rolled over, the king thought that his arrow had found its mark. He lowered his bow and began to walk towards the stag. But the stag suddenly jumped up and shot past the men. When the courtiers realized that the king had been mistaken, that means his target was missed, they started to laugh. Now the king thought himself to be an excellent marksman. Marksman is a person who is skilled in shooting. So this king could not bear the taunts of his men when they were laughing. Taunts means teasing or insulting remarks. So they were laughing. So this king, he could not bear the taunts. He grabbed his sword and set off into the forest in order to catch the stag. He chased the stag. He ran behind the stag for quite a while and covered a long distance. The stag came upon a hole in the ground that was covered by a rotting tree and filled with slime. Slime is thick and slippery liquid substance which gets collected in the hole pit. From a distance, it could smell the dirty water and so was careful not to run over it. But the king could not sense the pit, I told you, hole. And this king, he fell right into it. After a while, the stag realized, he came to know that he was not being followed any longer. He understood that the king had perhaps fallen into the pit. So the stag went back to the pit and saw the king struggling for his life. The king was fighting very hard to save his life, to come out of that pit, that hole. The stag felt very sorry for the king. He decided to save the king's life, even though the king was following him with the intention to kill him. With the intention means, children, plan. With the plan to kill him. The stag told the king not to worry and to be brave for a while longer. He then caught a huge rock with his hind legs. Hind legs are two legs at the back of animal's body. Four-legged animals, the front two legs are known as forelegs and the legs behind, they are known as hind legs. The stag, he caught a huge rock with his hind legs and lowered himself into the pit. The king caught hold of his neck and the stag climbed out onto the level ground and carried the king to safety, brought the king to a safe place. The king thanked the noble stag again and again and asked him to return with him to Banaras, where he could have anything and everything he wanted. But the stag did not want anything in return for his help. He just requested the king to rule wisely and well and be kind to animals. Then the noble stag disappeared into the forest. King Brahmadatta then vowed not to hunt or hurt any animal. Vowed means he made a promise, took a promise. He promised himself that henceforth he will not hunt or hurt any animal.